Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Behind me I have Chief McCauley from the Hackettstown PD, Detective Brian Ford from the Florham Park Police Department, Lieutenant Tom Ciccarelli from the Washington Township Warren County Police Department, First Assistant Prosecutor Mike McDonald from Warren County Prosecutor's Office, and Officer First Class Al Barnes from Morris County Sheriff's Office. Behind me, who are just a small representative of the law enforcement agencies, the numerous multiple law enforcement agencies you'll see in the press release that will be given to you that were engaged in what is the single most and largest operation in the history of Morris County Prosecutor's Office in terms of the arrests of a number of individuals that you see on the charts next to you. This investigation commenced in Morris County. We'll discuss that in a little bit, and eventually gravitated out to 3 additional counties: Essex County, Union County, and Warren County. Over 70 law enforcement officers were involved, and Amy Master-Simone and Captain Paul, who are behind me, were the assistant prosecutor and captain that were involved from the Morris County Prosecutor's Office as point people in this very large investigation. I'd like to thank all the individuals behind me, as well as the numerous law enforcement agencies, because many in the media don't realize the amount of manpower, and for the 24-hour nights, sleeping on cots and on the floor during the course of this massive investigation that had spanned for a number of months. I greatly appreciate the work that you did. Upon coming into office in 2007, the Morris County Prosecutor's Office instituted an intelligence crime task force. The main mission of that task force was to prioritize and target the most significant violent offenders, especially focusing on gangs, drugs, and guns, in order to use the police agencies within Morris County working collectively together rather than in silos, sharing in intelligence and working in a cooperative fashion in order to eradicate criminal enterprises that were occurring within Morris County. I'm proud to say that 5 years later, that with the great staff that I have, and with my command staff in particular, that we have had a 12.83% decrease in crime in Morris County, when the rest of the state has, as you know, trended upwards, and last year had the #1 crime decrease throughout the state. I think that specifically the efforts of the Intelligence Crime Task Force are significant in that regard. I think it's a matter of common sense that if we target the most serious offenders in the county and then aggressively prosecute them with very good investigations that have previously led to 20, 30, and 40-year state prison sentences, that you are eradicating crime issues and therefore your crime will go down. I'm also proud to say that we're able to do that with a $5 million savings over the last 5 years, and our budget has remained flat, and yet we still were able to save $5 million. What that essentially means is we did more with less. And what that essentially means is that the people behind me, specifically from my office, and I'm sure from the other offices, are working twice as hard. With specifically regard to this investigation, and looking at the target packages that we have here in Morris County, on Saturday, October 8th, 2011, at approximately 12:50 a.m., the Morristown Police Department, Morris County Prosecutor's Office, Morris County Sheriff's Office received a call that there was a shooting and a fight which took place on Abbott Avenue in Morristown. Upon arrival of the law enforcement agencies, they determined that 2 subjects had been shot. Victim 1 was 26 years of age, was shot in the abdomen, and victim 2, who was 29 years of age, was shot 4 times in the leg and buttocks. Both individuals were transported and admitted into Morristown Memorial Hospital. Both survived. The investigation quickly revealed the allegations in this complaint is that one of the perpetrators of that crime was an individual, Rashawn Caldwell. You will see Rashawn Caldwell is one of the individuals that is on that chart. And based on that investigation, instead of waiting, as traditionally is done, to try to solve that particular crime, we did that. And also through the use of other intelligence information we had received from various other law enforcement agencies, began an operation with regard to other criminal activities that Rashawn Caldwell may allegedly be engaged in. Again, I'd like to thank the Union County Prosecutor Ted Romanko, Warren County Prosecutor Richard Burke, and Essex County Acting Prosecutor Carolyn Murray, as well as the other police agencies, because they allowed their resources as well as the police agencies within their jurisdictions to work with us in terms of dismantling this criminal enterprise. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So what essentially I'm saying here is that instead of just confining within Morris County, I think this was a very good model. I was just talking to the first assistant prosecutor in Warren County about how we can work collectively to pool our resources and target the most dangerous individuals in our communities. Specifically, this investigation set out to dismantle an expansive gang, gun, and drug network which was ultimately determined to be run allegedly by Rashawn Caldwell and Jamie Fenner, and operating within Morris County as well as Essex, Union, and Warren counties. The investigation, which spanned over the past 7 months, followed the intelligence-led, data-driven policing strategy that I spoke about, and focused on these two violent offenders who were significant contributors to crime not only in Morris County, but the other counties as well. The operation also focused on the family members and associates who were alleged to be involved in the illegal drug operation. The task force, which was specifically formed and operational in Morris County, utilized all of the partnering agencies who worked in a collaborative effort to address this operation. Simply by the arrest yesterday, as well as the seizure of evidence alone yesterday, 2 .45 caliber semi-automatic handguns were recovered, 1 9mm semi-automatic handgun was recovered, over 2,000 packages of heroin ready for street distribution were recovered by law enforcement agents. Over 1 ounce of heroin not yet packaged for street distribution was recovered. Over 7 ounces of cocaine was recovered. Over $3,400 in cash was recovered. A significant quantity of handgun ammunition, 2 presses that are used at drug processing and packaging facilities was recovered. Heroin brand name stamps used to actually package and distribute narcotics were recovered. Various paraphernalia used in the distribution operation was recovered, and several vehicles which were used as part of the criminal enterprise were recovered. And that is just from what happened from the arrest that occurred yesterday. This operation resulted in the seizure of drugs, weapons, and vehicles which exceeded $100,000 in value and led to the dismantling of a violent criminal group which was operating throughout Morris County and the surrounding counties. On Friday, June 1st, 2012, at approximately 4:30 a.m., which is why you may see some tired faces, including myself around here, because we've been going since that time, the Morris County Prosecutor's Office Special Operations Division coordinated efforts to execute search warrants, arrest warrants with the partnering agencies throughout the mentioned counties that we discussed before. All the individuals that were arrested were transported back to Morris County, where they were processed and lodged in the Morris County Correctional Facility. The 2 main offenders that were lodged were Sean Caldwell, as you can see there, and Mr. Fenner. Those individuals were charged as leaders of a drug distribution network, as well as the producers of a drug manufacturing facility. Sean Caldwell was also charged with an attempted murder for the shooting that initiated this investigation. Bails have been set on all the individuals. All that information is in your packages. This investigation uncovered significant information which led to the attempted murder charge that was lodged against Mr. Caldwell on October 8, 2011, which is alleged to be a gang-related shooting that left 2 individuals wounded, as stated before, at Morristown Hospital in New Jersey. It also served to dismantle a significant operation which was responsible for distributing cocaine, heroin, and other illegal narcotics in the 4 counties previously mentioned. Mr. Fenner and Mr. Caldwell are allegedly the leaders in a high-level position of a drug distribution network, acting in the capacity as financer, organizer, supervisors, and managers, in that they allegedly directed, controlled, and employed certain known members of their alleged drug trafficking network to manufacture, package, distribute CDS, and collect monies owed for CDS, sold, and profits derived therefrom for their benefit and the benefit of others, that was in the direction of and operating within Morris, Warren, Essex, and Union counties. It is also alleged that both Rashawn Caldwell and Jamie Fenner are high-ranking members of a criminal enterprise gang, the Bloods Street Gang. The ultimate success of this operation was the result of the significant commitment of the manpower of the agencies that we've mentioned. And I'm not only thankful to the Morris County law enforcement community in general, but also to the task force and all the other county prosecutors and agencies from within those other jurisdictions that participated. We're asking anyone with information with regard to any of these individuals to contact the Morris County Prosecutor's Office Intelligence Crime Task Force at 973-285-6200 or the Morris County Sheriff's Office Crime Stopper Program at 973-COP-CALL. And as you all know, despite these pending charges, every defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, following a jury trial, at which time the defendant has all rights guaranteed by the United States and New Jersey constitutions and relevant state law. And with that, I'll take a couple of questions.
The roundup was this morning?
Roundup was started at 4:30. Doors were being entered at 4:30 a.m. Yesterday, and is ongoing throughout today, and is still in progress. As you can see, some of the individuals are yet to be identified.
Describe a little bit about the apprehension of Rashawn and Mr. Fenner?
Uneventful.
Where were they picked up, though?
Those specifics we're not giving out right now because there's still law enforcement. You have to understand there's still law enforcement officers that are out there searching for individuals, so we don't want to compromise any officer safety. Any other questions?
Were these drugs manufactured here in Morris County? You mentioned there are 3 other counties, so we need to get a better sense of what crimes were committed in which county. Can you tell us that?
There were multiple crimes committed in many counties, in each of the counties. You have to understand it was a 7-month-long investigation with numerous surveillances that were done and other electronic surveillance techniques that law enforcement uses. And pretty much these crimes were being performed and committed within all of the counties.
So the drugs were manufactured, drugs and guns and all, but the attempted murder happened here in Morris?
That's correct.
Can you tell us more about that specific incident, though? Mr. Finner, was he involved in that, or was it just
No,
Rashawn?
Mr. Caldwell is the only target of that investigation at this point in time. And as we indicated, the 2 individuals were shot, and that's why Mr. Caldwell, immediately the investigation focused on Mr. Caldwell. Again, using the intelligence-led policing model, numerous pieces of information were coming in about Mr. Caldwell. It was then determined that Mr. Caldwell may also be engaging in a drug distribution scheme, and then we followed traditional law enforcement methods. Our point is this. We know from the intelligence that we gathered that Mr. Caldwell is allegedly an individual committing violent crime. We then found out that he was an individual that was a high-level distributor of narcotics in 4 counties. We then found out that there were guns that were being involved. So this is the perfect kind of target that we want to go after. And I think as the case unfolds, it will be shown that Mr. Caldwell, which is not unusual for a drug distributor of this magnitude, uses violence as a means to enforce his drug trafficking network as a funding source for himself.
But that
So was
shooting
the
got the whole
victim-
thing under, that shooting, that investigation, that initial investigation got everything rolling on this?
Yeah, you know, and this is the thing. I mean, when he was identified as a suspect, it became a bifurcated issue. One, we were trying to, obviously, it was a shooting case, which we prioritize, and I'm sure every county prioritizes a shooting case. When we found out that there were associations that Mr. Caldwell had with other individuals, what the intelligence task force job is to do is to go out to other areas and say, hey, you know something about this guy, or do you have any intel, or do you have any data on him? And we were able to put together a data package that showed, this isn't just a suspect that is alleged to be involved in a shooting. He's also an individual that's involved in a lot of violent activity and potentially drug-related activity, as well as potential gang-related activity. So when we're doing our triaging of target packages in Morris County, we look at those most serious offenders, and sometimes we usually try to carry about 5 crime packages at a time. Sometimes we'll have to push number 5 down to 6 and operate on one that's more serious than the next. This became a high priority to us because he was alleged to have been involved in a shooting of 2 individuals. Then we're hearing about guns, we're hearing about gang-related activity, we're hearing about drug distribution activity, and as in fact, we started to proceed through our very many-month-long investigation. Those things that we were listening to from the intelligence community turned out to be, in our estimation, again, they're just allegations, to be accurate, and so the investigation continued to expand. And as it continued to expand, we realized that they were involved in other counties, and when they were involved in the other counties, we solicited the help of the prosecutor's offices in the towns in those counties. And as you may know, if you guys have been around the block, in the old formula, a lot of times people aren't sharing data with one another. A lot of times people are in these silos, even within your own county. And it's our job in the prosecutor's offices to make sure that we're all working together and pooling our data together, pooling our resources together, and going after the most significant targets. What I really love about this operation was the ease with which it was to work with the Warren County Prosecutor's Office, Essex County Prosecutor's Office, and Union County Prosecutor's Office when we called up and we said we need help because this drug distribution network is spanning out into your counties. They were there for us.
Is Caldwell based in Morristown, and where in Morris County is the gang active?
He was in Morris County. He's now have been residing in Union County. I'm not going to get any more specific than that. He hasn't been in Morris County pretty much since the time of the shooting.
You said, was the Crips, did you say? Or the Bloods? The Bloods, I'm sorry. Where in Morris County are they active? Are they here in Morristown?
We're focusing on this particular investigation.
In terms of, you said $100,000 in value of drugs that you seized?
Yeah.
Is that in Morris or all the counties together?
That's the whole operation on that day.
And can you describe what type of drugs we're talking about here?
Heroin, cocaine.
And could you just characterize what it's like to get that off the street in terms of further crimes that branch out from that?
Well, look, I mean, we all know in many years of doing this that drug-related activity drives other criminal activity. People who are drug addicted, and we see this as prosecutors, we see this as a defense lawyer, are pushed and forced to commit other crimes like burglaries, which are a big problem in Morris County that we really try to eradicate, thefts, robberies, things of that nature. So whenever you take you see, with this kind of operation, you're dismantling an entire organization. You're not involved in a situation in which tomorrow there's going to be a whole new structure that's up there. That's why we took our time to go very slowly to make sure that we have all the players that are alleged to have been involved in this operation so that it's eliminated. And, again, the 12.83% crime decrease, I think, speaks for itself. When you're targeting your most serious offenders and you have investigations that are prepared in the manner in which they did, and with an assistant prosecutor or two that have been involved from the inception of the case, our position has always been very aggressive. You don't want, like I said, 20-year plea offer, 30-year plea offer, 40-year plea offer. Let's try the case. They're very well put together because these are the kind of people, especially the leaders of a drug trafficking operation, that are, in our estimation, respectfully not amenable towards the rehabilitative process and need to be put in state prison. Yes.
Prosecutor, any idea how long this particular gang was in operation? And how much money?
Let's be careful here. I'm not suggesting that every person involved that's on that chart is involved in a gang. So that's your words, not mine. Okay. They've been going on for a significant period of time. I can guarantee you that it's been going on for at least 7 months. And by the estimations of the manner with which they were already structured, how the operation was distributing, it's been up for a considerable period of time.
So when you say who the gang members are, could you just be clear in terms of what we're shooting here? We have leaders,
We're not
employees.
specifying any particular, you have a package in your materials. Again, this will be vetted out in court. We're not going to try the case in the media in terms of these
No, but
associations. and
But you
gang
said there were
specifics.
parts of the blood, so we're just
There
trying to
was an
figure-
individual or two that we believe, and the court process will vet that out.
So
I'm not
only two you
specifying
can
specific
confirm were the members of the
individuals.
gang, were the leaders?
I'm not
Is that what-
specifying specific individuals.
So we can't call the whole thing a gang or even
No.
just two? Not even the two of them can be the leaders? They would have to be.
The release is what is in the release on the gang.
Are they related to Rashawn? There's 3 Caldwells who were picked up.
Yes, there's a number of people within the same family that are related to
Do you
one
know how
another.
they're related? Are they, because he's pretty young, I think. Are they sisters and brothers?
Peggy, I don't know the specifics. Captain Walk may be able to feed that to you afterwards. Okay.
Prosecutor, we've had,
Can you give us an estimated street value of the drugs that were seized in the investigation?
Jeff, do you have a number? The street value of the drugs?
You said 100,000.
It's $100,000 between the cars, the drugs, and all the materials. That's what we based on it right now. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, guys.
Did you say spell your first name at the beginning?
Robert Bianchi, Bianchi, Morris County Prosecutor. Thank you.